So Helldivers is honestly a pretty difficult game as you guys are working through the difficulty tiers, but there is a lot about this game that doesn't just upfront tell you, and there's a lot of little things you can do to really help yourself out as you are progressing through these difficulties, especially if you aren't playing on 4 players or if you're playing like 4 players with randoms without mics and things like that, because this game does require a lot of coordination and there's just so many things that you can do to help yourself progress and make it a lot easier when you don't have everything perfectly laid out for you. So hopefully this will help you guys out if you are brand new to the game or if you've been playing for a while and are even at max difficulty. There were still some things that I was just learning yesterday about this game that I'm including here in this video. So there's a lot to learn for everybody. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first thing I want to go over in this video is how to easily deal with the chargers and the spitter enemies of the bug faction. So those two are usually the things that are going to end up killing you. The spitters can like basically one tap you with their acid spray, and the chargers are just going to knock you down. It's going to make a whole mess, and they're very tough to kill because they are just covered in armor. Normally you got to shoot their butt, but there's actually a very easy trick that you can do to take these guys out. So with the chargers, all you're going to need is the recoilless rifle, or if you're later on in the game and you're level 20 plus, you can get the railgun. But with that, all you're going to do is just shoot them in one of their front arms and break that armor off. It's going to go in one rocket, which makes it super easy. And then you can just spray into them with your main weapon and they're going to die in like half a mag. So between you and your teammates, put a couple bullets into that front arm and they're going to drop. It makes them super easy. And if you guys do still need to dodge, just go ahead and dive straight to the side as they're charging at you, and they're most likely going to miss. Try to wait as long as you can, and then once they turn around, pop them in the arm. You can take them down that way. And then the spitters do go down in like a mag or so of your primary weapon, at least with the breaker shotgun. So they aren't too tough to kill by themselves, but some easy ways to get rid of them are with the auto cannon as your like backpack support weapon, and then you can also throw the impact grenades at them, and those have been taking them down in about a throw for me, which has been super helpful, especially if there's a couple grouped up chasing me. You just throw one impact grenade or two if you miss a little bit and you can take them out. So those are the two super easy ways on dealing with the chargers and the spitters. Now while we're talking about the autocannon support weapon, this is actually incredibly useful for destroying nests and other objectives around the map. So there's a lot of objectives where you have to destroy those bug holes or the eggs that are on the wall, and the autocannon just does it so well. You can use like the grenade launcher too, but I really do like the autocannon just because it's super accurate. You can shoot it from range, and it's just going to one tap all of these nests. It's going to allow you to clear these zones very quickly, so you don't have to worry about having like grenades or anything like that, or a bug coming out of the hole as you're throwing your grenade and blocking it and then just kind of ruining the clear in that nest. So I do really recommend the autocannon or the grenade launcher for dealing with these nest hives. For a third tip, I wanted to stay on the topic of combat, and that is going to have to do with our reloads. So you guys should know that if you do reload with ammo in the magazine, that ammo that's still in that mag is going to be lost forever. You're just going to go ahead and ditch it. But there is a benefit to doing so in certain scenarios. So sometimes it's actually not best to use every single bullet in the mag. You're going to want to reload with actually just one shot left in the mag. I know it's a little hard to tell and with a lot going on, but if this is something you can get good at, it's really going to help you out because your reload speed is going to be drastically faster. So with the breaker shotgun, for example, our reload with an empty mag is about like 2.5 seconds or so, roughly. And if we go ahead and just reload with like one shot remaining in the magazine, it's going to cut that down to under 2 seconds, just a hair under. And that's really going to help you out, especially when you guys are just getting bombarded by these enemies chasing you around. It really does make a big difference because a lot of times you're just a quarter of a second away from getting that reload off, and then you get hit by an enemy slowed or something, and it just ends up making it so you can never turn around and shoot the enemies. So just being able to reload with that one shot left is really going to help you out. Our fourth tip is also going to be doing with our guns, and that is going to be the alternate firing modes that actually come with them. So if you hold your reload button, you're going to get a bunch of different options. You can turn on and off a flashlight, you can set it to auto, and you can go between different firing modes. So For the breaker shotgun, it just goes between full auto and semi-auto, so not a huge difference, but things like machine guns can end up getting different like RPM values. So this is something you want to be taking a look at and fit it to your preferences, whether you want the flashlight on or off, and what fire rate you want your gun to be shooting at. Our fifth tip is gonna revolve around our stratagems and how you guys can actually be calling those in a very quick and efficient manner. So you can actually call these in while you're diving, but you can't do it if you dive like downhill and your body goes into the ragdoll mode. As long as your body stays in like the controlled dive, you can be calling those in as you're going. So if you really need like a clutch res as you're running away from a Bile Titan, you can go ahead and dodge its attack with your dive and quickly enter in the revive, turn around after you get back up, throw it at its feet, and your teammates can land on it. So there's a bunch of scenarios where this is actually really helpful. And also a little bonus thing, which is really gonna only be for mouse and keyboards players, just because controller players, if you didn't know, on mouse and keyboard by default, you cannot move while calling in a stratagem, which is a little unfortunate. So one thing keyboard players are gonna have to do is end up rebinding their stratagem calling in like buttons. So one very common way is just setting it to your arrow keys, which is going to require you to lift up your hand off of your mouse and call it in through there. Or you can set it to any other buttons on your keyboard or your mouse, whatever you want to do. But if you want to be able to move while you're calling in the stratagems, you're definitely going to need to rebind, but feel free to do whatever you want. I still have not rebound just because I don't have arrow keys that actually work on my keyboard at the moment. So it's just been easier to learn how to do all these combos very quickly and just do it while I'm diving. Our sixth tip is going to revolve around the Siege Artillery side objective that you can find within the worlds. And with this, if you go ahead and complete it, you're going to have some optional artillery to be able to call in. And those artillery are going to be based off of the actual ammunition that you loaded into it. So that is a part of the objective for that side mission. But you guys can actually move these artillery shells around pretty quick if you just spam your pickup, your interact key as you are moving them. It's going to allow you guys to move much quicker. Otherwise, you move incredibly slow while carrying these things. So just go ahead and spam the interact key. Also, wait to actually touch the console just in case any enemies are going to be spawning on you. You can get everything nice and close to the artillery cannon and then hit the console, load them up, do one last thing on there, and it's going to be done. It's going to take less than a minute. So definitely some really useful tricks to speed up the Siege Artillery side objective. Our seventh tip is going to be revolving around finding the super credit caches. So the super credits are the premium currency within the game. It's what you can buy with actual money, and it's going to allow you guys to get a bunch of different armors from the store and also buy the premium battle pass. So if you guys do not want to be spending any money extra on this game, you can get all of this premium currency for free, and you can farm this incredibly easily. So as you're going around the map, you'll find points of interest. They'll look like a little diamond symbol on the map. And at some of these, you're going to find like a little container in the ground. Basically, it looks like a little shipping container. Go ahead and shoot an explosive at it, throw a grenade at it, whatever, break it open. In there, you're going to have the chance of finding super credits, or you can get the medallions for the actual Battle Pass 2, which is very helpful, or just some like guns if you want to try out some other options, especially if you're a lower level and you don't have all of the guns at your disposal. But just go ahead and find all of those different points of interest. Make sure you are breaking those open because they are going to add up. It's going to allow you guys to get some really good armor and unlock some really nice things from the Battle Pass. Our eighth tip is actually going to be revolving around the Battle Pass, and that's going to be essentially fast tracking your way on the free Battle Pass version to the Hero's Armor on page 5, because what this is actually going to let you do is have a 50% chance of living any sort of damage that would end up killing you. So if you guys have a ton of teammates who are really bad at throwing their artillery down, this can save you a lot, and obviously just in general against enemies. Overall, this has been the most impactful piece of armor that I have gathered so far. Everything else has been nice, but this thing has been a game changer. So I really do recommend everybody is wearing this armor. There's also a white colored variant at the very end of the Battle Pass, and I'm sure there's other variants that can show up in the shop as well if you want to spend some of that premium currency on them. But I would highly recommend looking for armor with that passive. The ninth tip here in this video, we're going to be looking at samples and how important they are. This is something that we were really bad at early on, and it's definitely caught up to us because we do not have a ton of the ship upgrades. So these ship upgrades cost a lot of samples, and the common samples, which you're going to be finding right at the start of your journey in Helldivers. So the moment you see those on your little HUD or on your map, wherever, make sure you pick them up. And if you die, make sure you go back to your body and pick up the little test tube vial symbol. That's going to contain all of these samples that you dropped. So you can make sure to extract those. You're not going to get any unless you extract them. So make sure you are picking those up. Also, this is going to help out your teammates too. So if you end up picking up all of these samples and you die and never pick them back up, you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting everybody else you are playing with. So really do focus on making sure you are extracting with those samples, and it's really going to help you out in the long run and getting those upgrades. The final tip that I have for you guys in today's video is going to be avoiding the 100% increase call-in time modifier for your stratagems. This thing really sucks. It makes it almost impossible to hit anything with an airstrike, and your airstrikes are crucial to getting through some of these later stage difficulties. Modifiers are just going to end up being a part of it, but if you can choose to not play a map with that modifier, don't. Any of the other ones are much better and easier to deal with. This one is just super frustrating because you'll be getting chased by a Bile Titan. You throw an airstrike down and you got to wait like 10 seconds for it to even possibly hit this thing. And by then it's going to walk out of there. You're going to do no damage to it. It's almost pointless to have any sort of like artillery on there. So I highly recommend you guys skip this modifier. Overall, Helldivers is a blast, and it is, like I said at the start, not an easy game. So if you take all of these tips, put them together and combine a bunch of other tips out there, there's way more than what I covered in this video on things you can do in this game to help you out. You put all that together, you're gonna end up having a much easier time getting through these later stage difficulties. Yeah, I hope you learned something in today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video, let me know. Also consider subscribing for more Helldivers content here on the channel. But anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See ya.